ESPN 1080.com and ESPNFlorida.com here. Eric Lopez alongside our Magic insider Andrew Melnick here at the Amway Center as the Orlando Magic win their second consecutive game. They defeat the Cleveland Cavaliers 102-94, Andrew, and it's good to get some wins back in the column against the Cleveland team that clearly is still lacking talent.
Yeah, when you lose 5 out of 6, bring Washington and Cleveland to town. Good solution. Washington, of course, is just a terrible team this year. Cleveland hasn't been that bad, actually. They've surprised, beat Boston this weekend, and then lost a close game to them, I think, by 3 the next day. So they've been a lot better with Kyrie Irving and company, but yeah, it's good to just get a couple wins after how bad Magic were reeling.
Von Wafer and Earl Clark really played well off the bench there, really brought a spark, and I think in particular Von Wafer especially should be in the rotation.
Yeah, he certainly should. 11 points in 16 minutes today. He really does provide a spark. I think that's the perfect word for it. And you see the Magic maybe going a little smaller at times. No Quentin Richardson today. Instead, you saw JJ and Vaughn playing at the same time. Jason Richardson and Von Wafer playing at the same time. JJ and Von Wafer. You've seen them using those 2 guards together. And when you've got 3 guys who are all pretty good, I mean, Jason Richardson probably played his best game of the season tonight after a couple of days off. You got to get all 3 of them on the court somehow.
Of course, it wouldn't be a day in Magic Land without a little controversy. The difference is it wasn't Dwight Howard's not involved. It was Glenn Davis, suspended for this game. He'll be suspended for the game at Indiana. The walkthrough apparently had some verbal confrontation with Stan Van Gundy. Stan Van Gundy did not go into detail in the pregame about it. Your thoughts on this whole drama here with Glenn Davis, who's clearly frustrated with his role. I don't think he came here to be a back.
No, and this is, Glenn Davis has a bit of a history of this. I mean, we've seen him get into trouble with coaches and other players before. I mean, nothing ever too serious. You haven't seen him get suspended 2 games. But I think the biggest frustration for Glenn has probably come from his play. And he has not been good on the offensive side. He's been better on defense, but hasn't rebounded the ball as well as he should. Hasn't shot the ball as well as he's capable. Hasn't really finished at the rim. And I think, his role, like you mentioned, his lack of production on offense, and, playing for, a hard-nosed coach like Stan Van Gundy, I think it all kind of culminated earlier today.
Magic, of course, debut their new acquisition, Ish. The Ish era, baby. What'd you think of Ish?
He wasn't bad. He looked nervous in the beginning of the game. I thought he looked bad in the first half, handling the ball. Stan Van Gundy just thought he was a little nervous because he did look a lot better in the second half. And got to give this guy some credit. He's fast. I mean, this is a guy with a lot of speed. And when you saw him on the court with Von Wafer, with J.J. Redick, with Dwight, with Earl Clark, we saw that in the fourth quarter. That has got to be the most athletic lineup, just in terms of pure speed, jumping ability, things like that the Magic have put on the court in a while.
Well, now the Magic really begin a really difficult part of the schedule. They go to Cincinnati and then bust it over there to play the Pacers on Saturday night, and then come back home to face the Clippers and the Heat, but first on Indiana. This is going to be a tricky game here for the Magic.
Yeah, they just split with them. In fact, kind of funny, we blew out Indiana at Indiana, then we're blown out back here at home. Indiana, a very good team, was a pretty good team last year, got in the playoffs, gave the Bulls a lot of trouble, then picked up David West, always been an underrated player. So it's not going to be easy for Orlando, and it's probably the easiest of their next few games too, because then you got the Clippers coming in, you got the Heat coming in. I mean, this is probably one of the toughest stretches of the season. Of course, you mentioned no Glenn Davis against the Pacers. That could hurt with a pretty good big man rotation with Roy Hibbert, Danny Granger, you got Tyler Hansbrough off the bench, David West. I mean, there's a lot of big guys that can do some damage, and we'll probably see a lot more of Earl Clark. Stan said we might even see Daniel Orton. I wouldn't hold my breath.
Oh, that could be a little exciting for Magic fans.
It could be. Daniel's a nice guy. Get him some action.
That's our Magic insider, Andrew Melnick. Check out all the great work at ESPNFlorida.com and ESPN1080.com, as well as all your coverage Orlando Magic here on ESPN1080.com. From the Amway Center, for Andrew Melnick, I'm Eric Lopez. Your final score, the Orlando Magic 102, and the Cleveland Cavaliers 94.